In this second module, where we are examining the intersections between humans and society from a religious lens, we'll be looking at Clifford Geertz. Now, Geertz rejected the grand theory approach to studying religion, for example, what Durkheim employed, and instead made the argument that while one cannot, again, do what Durkheim did, which is to develop any universal rules or concepts for all religions from the example of one specific tradition, which Durkheim did by examining the Aboriginal traditions in Australia and developing these larger, more grand theories for human religious ideas and concepts from that, which could be called the instrumental or functionalist approach. Instead, Geertz argued that one can develop theories about how humans approach the development of religious meaning, specifically that the discipline of looking deeply into the balance between worldview and ethos. Worldview being how one literally views the world. One's is also known as one's hermeneutic, all the different elements which can combine to create one's specific view of the world, versus an ethos, which is how one is going to be approaching that world, how one engages with the world around them. The worldview is how one views it, and ethos is how one approaches that. So specifically, the discipline of looking deeply into the balance between worldview, how one views the world, and how one approaches the world can tell us something meaningful about a culture, which could be seen as more of a proceduralist approach. In other words, looking at the procedure of how one understands and creates religious meaning, as opposed to religion as an instrument, or religion as something which is functional in one's life. There's a move towards an examination of the distinctly human aspects of religion, particularly the ideas, attitudes, and emotions which shape it. In other words, religions shape society, and societies shape religion. And this is in some ways a rejection of the scientist approach that Durkheim applied to the study of religion and society. The idea that we can be very scientific, sort of looking at things from a data perspective. Geertz instead insists that we must look at this from a human perspective, which involves flaws and changes and ideas and emotions and all of the subjective things which Durkheim struggled with. Now, three constituent elements of this discipline, according to Geertz, are analyzing sets of meaning found in religious symbols, analyzing ways symbols are connected to societal structures, and analyzing ways individual psyches, people, interpret meaning. Geertz emphasizes an interpretive theory of culture, where culture is not just the specific nouns of a culture. So the people of a culture, its places, things, okay? But is that these nouns, the people, places, things, as well as the ways which these nouns are interpreted, who interprets them, why they interpret them, what significance these people attribute to these interpretations, and the webs of meaning that then people attach to the interpretations that they apply to the nouns of their culture. In other words, all actions must be read through culture, a shared community of meanings, which allows everyone in the community to understand the meaning and significance of these nouns, actions, behaviors, emotions, etc. So in other words, we develop meaning by interpreting events, and we develop these sort of interpretive lenses through a community. We're sharing ideas back and forth. We're developing interpretations of things through dialogue with everyone in this community around us. It's a complicated process that can't be universalized. Every single human engages with it on a human level with other humans. Now, everything is more complicated than this, and because people are often surprising and do unexpected things, interpreting culture can never be scientific, and instead, all that one can ever hope to develop are general concepts and frameworks with which one can approach specific traditions. This process is called thick description because it winds up developing a thick understanding of a specific culture. When you're looking at all these different things, the what significance people attribute to them, why the nouns are interpreted, who is interpreting them, all of what I said before, all of these things and all the nouns and interpretations and significance that everything gets applied to. Once you start, sort of looking at culture in this much thicker, richer way, you develop a thick a complex understanding of a culture, and not just one where you can look at one event and then develop a law from that. So religion is thus a pattern of meanings. As Geertz states, it is 1, a system of symbols which acts to 2, establish powerful, pervasive, and long-lasting moods in people, by 3, formulating conceptions of a general order of existence, 4, clothing these conceptions with such an aura of factuality that 5, the moods and motivations seem uniquely realistic. All right, let's go through that really quickly. 1, a system of symbols which acts. So this is anything which carries and conveys to people an idea. Objects, events, rituals, acts, gestures. The nouns I talked of before. These are public things and not just private. They're public in that everyone has access to them. It's not just going on in your head. These are these nouns that everyone in a culture can see and engage with and do and interpret themselves. Okay, 2, establish powerful, pervasive, and long-lasting moods in people. So religion makes people feel things and want to do things. Moods might be temporary, but they're powerful. Motivations have goals which are guided by a set of values, things which are considered good and right. And we react to it based on our moods and emotions, which can lead us to do all kinds of amazing and potentially terrible things. All right. Formulating conceptions of a general order of existence. So religions offer ultimate explanations of the world, provide ultimate meanings, and offer ordering purposes. They basically help the world make sense. Religion involves both conceptions of the world and sets of moods and motivations guided by moral ideas. They help you frame the world and help you make sense of the emotions you feel and give you a sense of motivations, reasons to do things guided by what you think is right and wrong. These are the core of religion, as I said before. Worldview, what you think and how you understand the world, and ethos, how you approach it, your behavioral inclinations. Okay, 4, clothing these conceptions with such an aura of factuality. They're true. These conceptions are true. Aura of factuality just means it's true. Okay. The moods and motivations seem uniquely realistic. Basically, people experience their emotions and motivations as really real. They're actually experiencing them. This is taking people's individual experiences of the world and their interpretations, which they then develop based on on top of those emotions and the things they do in the world, and it treats them seriously. It says that people have emotions and they act according to them, and we're going to take that seriously. All right. It is not objective. It is not looking at the world just as a question of, data and facts, as we talked about in the last module, but this is actual emotions and experiences and things that are subjective, but which are still fundamentally real. Now, religion marks out a sphere of life with a special status, and it is in rituals that people experience this reality. Both the ethos and worldview of people powerfully reinforce each other. The way you view the world and how you approach the world reinforce each other. In religion, these two are symbolically fused together into a picture of the way the world really is. Now, in the rest of the reading, you'll see how Geertz comes to this conclusion and the data that he uses to come to this conclusion. But this is the fundamental core issue that Geertz is trying to come across, that people have motivations and emotions that are real and they should be taken seriously.